Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. What are you doing this morning? What's going on? What is going on with you today? Getting my day started with making some dog food, and I thought I would log on for just a minute and share that with you. So several months ago, it's been probably, I think it was in January, that my dog Penny had to have surgery. She had torn a muscle in her leg. It's called a TPLO. Don't ask me what that stands for, but she had been limping for about a month, and we thought that she had just strained her leg and that it was going to heal. Well, it didn't, and she ended up having to have surgery, and it was a very hard decision to make because it was rather expensive. But anyway, through that 12-week healing recovery time, part of her treatment was she needed more protein. And so the doctors and the surgeon, they were wonderful. It was a veterinarian hospital in this area in Wilson, North Carolina, but they were wonderful, and they gave me a whole breakdown of her, what her recovery looked like and what I needed to do, and they gave me online resources, just great information. But through that, I started making some dog food, so that, I could add some protein to her diet, and it's really good for them. So basically, I use household ingredients, starting with hamburger. I use the lean kind. I buy those great big 3-pound loaves, and then I divide it up. It's much cheaper if you do that. I divide it up into 1-pound sections and freeze it. I also use chicken livers, which is really, really good. It's an organ meat, and that's the natural things that dogs in the wild eat. So, and it's really cheap. You can get them from Walmart, anywhere, Food Lion. So I use that. I also use canned salmon, which is good for their coat. It stinks, but it's good for them. I use canned potatoes. They're already chopped up. Or you can just, cook your own. I just choose to do that because I get those really cheap. And I also use peas. And one last thing that I use, this is what I use. It's brown rice. I use brown rice rather than white rice because it's just better. It's more natural. White rice is not naturally white. It's bleached. That's how it gets to be that way. But it comes in these little pouches. And I think it's parboiled, so it doesn't take quite so long. And I've got this little, what did I do with it? I've got this little nifty little pot here that has a little strainer thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cranked up this morning. But I just thought I would take a minute and show you all the ingredients, and then I will put it all together and I will show you how I process it. And so basically, one other thing, what did I do? So years ago, I found these Tupperware, I believe it's Tupperware, these Tupperware hamburger stacker things that you can keep in the freezer, where you take your own hamburger and you smash them into your own burgers. So I've had this for quite some time, but it's perfect because I make little dog patties and put in here, and then I can keep those in the freezer. So this is what I use to stack it. But I will hang up now, and then I'll come back when I get everything. I got to get the water boiling so I can put my rice in there. And when I start to bring it all together, I will be back. So the ingredients again is very lean hamburger. Also use chicken, so ground chicken. You can put that in there. I use salmon, canned salmon, potatoes, peas, brown rice, and there's many other things that you can put in there. Carrots, sweet potatoes is really good. Actually, sweet potatoes would be better than white potatoes, but today I'm putting just regular white potatoes. So, and there's a lot of recipes out there. This is just kind of what I do. The dogs love it. I give them one patty, because I've got 2 dogs. So I take one patty, divide it in half, and I put it in with their kibbles in the morning and morning and afternoon. So anyway, I will get all of this together and I will be back. Have a great one. Hope you're having a good day so far. Just take some time today to praise the Lord for all of his goodness and all of his blessings. And we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, y'all, I am back. So with my canned salmon, I wanted to take a minute. What did I do with the can? I'm using pink salmon. And if you've ever used canned salmon, there are these little bones, cartilage, or something like that. And even though they just completely, it's not going to be dangerous for the dogs if they're in there, because the bones just, they're little teeny tiny. Let me see if I can show you. And they actually dissolve. Excuse me, I had a notification come through. They actually kind of crumble and just dissolve when you press on them. But as much as I can, I try to remove those. So I've got a little pile here. And yeah, it's kind of a pain. But anyway, I guess the way they cook it, that it just completely crumbles. But as much as I can, I try to remove all of the bones and get that cleared out. And then I have all of this good clean meat. I just kind of, you know, work through it with a fork and just look for anything that, you know, might be dangerous. But so far, I've got my meat in here. I actually did have some sweet potatoes. So I've added sweet potatoes and potatoes today. So they're going to get a little bit of a treat with that. I'm going to add my salmon. I don't know. Let's see if you can see this here. Okay, this is the pile that I've got going on. And again, the dogs just love it. And then my rice is all done. So let me pull that out here. I only had to cook it for about 5 minutes. And we're going to let that drain a little bit. If there's a little bit of water that gets into, let's see here. You can see very well. Okay. And all I'm going to do is cut the top off, and it's so nice. You know, these bags have holes in it so that it drains. But I'm going to add my rice. And too, one of the things I know when I have done research about dog food is you don't want to cook, if you're cooking everything fresh, you don't want to overcook it, okay? Because the more you cook it, the more you're losing some of the good nutrients that you're trying to actually give to your dog. So just be mindful of that. Where is mine? Okay, get my little thing here, and we're going to stir that around. Trying to think if that's everything. It's like, you know, it's kind of like a soup. If you were to add some broth to it, it would almost be like a soup. But we're going to do that. So when I was cooking the hamburger, you only cook it until it's not red, okay? You don't want to overcook any of that, because you want, and like the peas, I didn't heat them up. The regular potatoes, didn't heat that up. Sweet potatoes, yes, they were already pre-cooked. So I just added those in there and chopped them up. You just kind of want to chop everything up really nice and good. And I'm just going to stir that around to get that salmon and everything all mixed together. And you know, you're giving your dog natural, fresh ingredients. Okay. I actually use the Tractor Supply kibble food for large breed, and I've tried so many different kinds. I always look at the ingredients and make sure that whatever dog food that I'm giving them, that beef, chicken, or whatever the protein is the first ingredient. Whatever is the first ingredient is going to be the bulk of what you're going to be feeding your dog. So just be mindful of that. You know, our dogs, they're our pets, they're family, and we love them, and I want them to live as long as possible, and I want them to be healthy. And I'll be honest with you, you know, You hate to have to pay so much money for dog food, but we don't want to give them junk. You know, garbage in, garbage out, right? They're not going to thrive. They're not going to be healthy and well. They're going to lay around and be sluggish if they're not eating things that are healthy. So this just adds to the kibbles. So like I said, I take the time to put this, let's see, where's my little, I'm going to scoop this out and get it a little closer to, look at that. Look at that goodness. So I'm going to take my little patty here, and let me get my little thing here. All right, so this little Tupperware thing, like I said, I think I found it at a thrift store years and years and years ago, and I've got about 16 different containers, and it came with this little funnel that you put inside. It fits perfectly inside there, and then when you put your meats, it's made for hamburger or turkey burger or whatever kind of burger that you use, and then you press it into a patty. So that's what I use. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to put 1 heaping spoonful. If you want to watch me here, I'm going to put 1 little heaping spoonful like that, and I'm just going to kind of tap it down like that. Put that in there. Make sure it comes out. And then I'll use my little press to press it into a patty. We'll do that one more time so I can show you, and then I'll put that to the side. And it's awesome because they stack up. It's Tupperware, so it seals out any air or moisture in your patty. So when you put it in the freezer, all I have to do is open it up and heat it in the microwave for like 30 seconds, and we're good to go. So we're going to do that again. I'm just going to fill it up to a heaping spoonful and just kind of tap off the excess. Put that in there. Okay. And then we're going to press it into a patty. And then we want to, scrape off any excess. Lay that to the side. And then I'm going to take this nice little patty and put it on top of the other one. All right, one more for good measure. I'm using just like a soup ladle. That's what I'm using, and that just ends up being a good size, a good measurement size. So we're gonna do that again, and I'm using the flat side of the knife. You just kind of want to tap the excess off. Put that in there. Press it, and now we are good to go. Okay. All right, I'm going to sign off for just a few minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and finish all of my 16 little patties, and I will be back. All right, see you in just a minute. Thank you for joining me this morning. I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy at home with Rhonda, and just all the little things that I find myself doing, I want to share with you, and maybe give you some tips and tricks and ideas of things that you can do in your home as well. So we'll be back soon. See ya. Hey y'all, I am back, and I am all done with my dog food. So I've got 16 patties that is going to go in the freezer, and I've got this little spot. As soon as you open up the freezer, there's like this little cavity place where you can, it just fits perfectly in there right up front, so I don't have to go and dig around. And I also had enough for these 2 containers. So one of them I will just put in the refrigerator so that we can use that for the next probably 3 days. And then I will also put this. So actually 16 patties, and let's see. So 16 would be 8 days because I use 2 patties a day. And then I think there's about 2 days. So 16, 17, 18. So about 18, well, let's see. 18, so that would be about 10 days. I'm sorry, I'm not good at math. But anyway, so about 10 days, I'll do it all over again. But it's good, healthy food. It's a treat. The dogs love it. They look forward to dinner time, and much cheaper than some of the natural ingredients and the fresh dog food that you can buy on Amazon or at any of the grocery stores. It's just, I don't know how people do it. I want to give my dogs fresh food. But I just can't afford to pay the prices that some of these other brands are going to want to charge you for that. But anyway, I hope that if you have some little fur babies that this might inspire you to do something like that. And again, I don't only feed them this food because that would be a lot, especially for 2 large breed dogs. But it is good food for them, good wholesome ingredients. And for them, they just think it's a treat. So it's a win-win situation. So I hope this is helpful, and maybe this is something that you can try for your little pets, especially if you have like a Chihuahua or some of these animals that are very picky eaters. If you add a little bit of, like, you know, I would say a half of one of these patties to their kibbles, they may not be picky anymore. So if you have a pet out there that's kind of picky and just doesn't want to eat the food that you're buying for them, maybe give this a try. And anyway, if you have any questions or if you need my recipe, I'll be glad to send it to you. So have a good day and be blessed. And don't worry, don't fret with what's going on. There's a lot going on in our world today, and it's hard not to let it get to you. But I know the scriptures. I've read them from Genesis to Revelation, and I know who wins in the end. So don't be fretful. Just let God give you peace and comfort, and let Him take care of, we talked about the other day, let Him take care of the big things. And you just take care of the things that He's calling you to do today. So be blessed, and we will talk to you later. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care, guys. Bye.